All right, everybody. So thanks for joining us. Um, each of you guys come from differing backgrounds in terms of experience, industry, where you were before the pandemic, through the pandemic, here. And so when Jacques and I were talking about who we wanted to have be a part of the panel, there was a few names that sort of mutually came to mind. And we put our heads together and thought that you four would really bring a unique, broad experience to the audience. So we have Sarah with Republic Restoratives, Rakia Finley, Copper and Vine, Andreas Echeverry with ACSI Translation and PPE Response Now. Cool story. And Dash Kiradenya, Codice. And former award winner, Dash, right? You won 2 years ago? No? 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, 2018, yes.
Yeah. So great to have you back at the event.
Thanks.
So Sarah, if you want to get us started, I know you have the tightest timeline, and just give us, 5-6 minutes on sort of where you guys were going into March. I know we had some really cool discussions about your business and where you guys went. There were certainly some challenges in there, and we've talked about some pretty big new opportunities. And could you just give us a little bit about that?
Sure. Thanks. So I'm Sarah Mossbacker with Republic Restoratives Distillery. We are a 4-year-old business, and prior to COVID, we were manufacturing 4 spirits that are currently on the market: Civic Vodka, Burrow Bourbon, Chapman's Apple Brandy, and now Purpose Rye. We were also making our own in-house estate bourbon, which is currently resting in barrels in our facility. We distributed those products ourselves through wholesale channel. So we didn't use a distributor. We actually delivered to bars, restaurants, liquor stores. We also had a beautiful bar in the front of our building, which was open to the public Thursday through Sunday.
Yep.
We closed for private events. We did tours. We did outside tastings. And as you just referred to, we were at this age and stage of the business, finally launching a strategic but national expansion plan. So not like a 50-state plan, but we were growing in California, Colorado, New York, Maryland, Virginia. So we still do some of those things, and we don't do other things right now. And we also do some new things. So some of the things that we don't do, we mark Sunday, March 15th, as a lot of businesses do, as our last day of normal business. The following week, we laid off our entire bar staff, our out-of-state sales staff, our brand ambassadors, our tour guides. Basically, all of that revenue completely stopped for us, and we were unable to provide those services. We postponed and canceled weddings, the whole nine. We had prepared for this not many weeks before, but the week before, we thought about, okay, what's business going to look like for us in the near future? And so we actually moved forward with 2 new revenue streams that week. We started making hand sanitizer, and we started direct-to-consumer delivery. The hand sanitizer, the World Health Organization released a easy for us formula for making hand sanitizer. The biggest component of it and the hardest to source and the most highly restricted is high-proof alcohol, which distilleries, obviously have in spades. So we picked that up pretty quickly. We sourced the additional materials we needed, and we ended up going on to sell many thousands of gallons to local businesses, organizations, and our biggest coup that we are most grateful for is that we sold over 10,000 gallons of hand sanitizer to the District of Columbia. And that really helped us keep the remaining employees that we had on our production team employed. And for that, we were incredibly grateful. The second thing that we did, the direct-to-consumer delivery, we were always allowed to sell directly to consumers in the district, and we could have delivered, but at the time, there was just not a compelling financial reason to. We didn't, setting up the infrastructure, charging people, there just would not have been a base for that. Obviously, it's very different now. And in the last 6 months, we have taken our beautiful bar, which we shuttered, turned it into a distribution facility, and we have made over 3,500 home deliveries. And had over 2,000 people come and do curbside pickup. So yeah, we have had some wins. As you mentioned, and like as I talked about briefly with the out-of-state sales, expanding was definitely something that needed to be happening for our business at this stage. And so even though I would say that we've had some incredible successes, all things considered in the past 6 months, on the other hand, some things I don't know how they'll come back. There are really highly skilled people who we loved, who we had to lay off, who may not be there on the other side if we were financially prepared to hire them back. The expansion and growth that we were counting on and the trajectory we thought we were on is definitely stunted. That's not to say that we won't find another path, but the path we were on is, that one's closed. So we maybe find another way. And also the things that we're doing now, our new lines of revenue, the hand sanitizer, the home delivery, that's also not a forever thing. Purell's back. Nobody needs hand sanitizer in the same way, and people will hopefully be relying on home delivery less and less as we come out the other side of this. So it's actually a really interesting time. Like month 6 is a great time to look back, but it's also going forward, the next 6 months looks nothing like these 6 months did for us because of the changing conditions in the market.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, for all that we know now, and we know so much more, we know so little about. I think that's what the last 6 months have shown us is we just, we don't know, right? What the regulatory environment's going to look like. Maryland is looking at making the to-go alcohol sales permanent, right, from bars and restaurants. So does that get passed? Who knows? So all sorts of things.
Yeah. How do people behave in the winter?
Exactly.
Even in the past 6 months, people have behaved differently every month. Every month hasn't been the same for us. It's, consumer habits have changed as we've gone. So who knows what's down the pike.
Well, thank you. I want to keep us moving, and I want to go to Rakia next. And Rakia, if you could share a little bit about sort of the same timeline. Let's talk about these 6 months, these crazy 6 months, and where you guys have been.
Yeah, so we are Copper and Vine. We're a product development and digital innovation service provider for companies and startups. So we build applications, software, proprietary software that is not just consumer facing, but also internal management, enterprise level software that our companies go on to make revenue sources out of, or just lean into to create higher senses of efficiency within their companies. So in March, we were on our, we call it our client tour. A lot of our clients are global and international. We had just left a project out of Marrakesh and went into our, we host an annual leadership retreat for our clients and founders in March, and we were called By Grace, that we were doing in the Cayman Islands. So we thought we were coming into March with happy clients, exciting new projects, and with a really robust travel schedule. Even though we're a tech provision company, we go directly to our clients and we build as much as we can on their premises and in person. So we had a tour for the year that consisted of Hawaii, LA, Morocco, Brussels, and Spain, building a number of really great consumer-facing and internal applications. And that altered, and our March became really us remembering that we're consultants first, and that we're solution providers and we're business strategists first. So a lot of those projects turned into us going back to our clients and saying, what do you need to pivot? What do you need to do to alter into this new reality of COVID? We made some business model decisions for you last year. What of those are changing? And let us help you change, let us help you make that pivot on your behalf. And with that, we built a number of some of the first technologies that we see now. A lot of restaurants are building their own applications to manage people picking up resources. A lot of different engagement applications we've seen ourselves build for our clients. And that's not necessarily things that we do, one-off consumer-facing applications, but it's something that we do now because we realize it's the immediate thing that most of our clients need. Companies need to find new ways to engage with their customers. So we found beautiful opportunities to build really custom user engagement applications for our consumer-facing clients. And since then, working with our international clients to really change their brand language, as well as refining some of the internal enterprise systems. So we've been building a number of custom CRM systems and database solutions for companies to help them manage their now fully remote team. Or we've also been revitalizing, going in and just doing a lot of change management with a lot of our clients. And these are all services that we provided within a large project. Maybe it looked like us building their entire software interface that allowed them to communicate internally, allowed them to manage their product and their business models with some data components there. But now it's us going to them and saying, what pain points do you have, and what small technology projects can we build to really support you in creating that? And that's resulted in us building a number of mobile apps and a number of really great and solid internal applications. And then we, just like Sarah, had the same concern where we still had to, we have a team of about 17 developers in all different parts of the world. And we wanted to make sure that everyone had something to do and was producing in a way that we could keep them on. I made a declaration in March that we weren't going to lay anybody off, and we were going to figure out what we need to do to make that possible. With that, we decided to build some internal projects. So we now started March with this idea of a couple of products that we could build to help our clients. And now we've launched a total of 3 SaaS platforms that support client support of just being able to communicate to clients and projects, as well as some internal SaaS platforms to help people just run their companies better for their remote systems. And we also built some really fun solution-based applications, one of them being Step Forward, which is a global mobile app that's in the App Store that was a response to the need for diversity and inclusion conversations amongst this world. And it's an app that you can go and download, and you can just learn more about diversity and equity and equality and be more vast in it. It didn't generate a profit of any kind for us, but it allowed our team to continue to work together and allowed us to give back in a way that was really significant. So what we did overall was we took the smaller service offerings that we provide to our clients just out of us needing to build strong rapport, and we turned them into actual fast track service offerings for anyone who needed a hand in pivoting into this new world and leaning on digital in a more strategic way. And then when we weren't doing that, we built some stuff of our own.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Let's go to Andreas next. ACSI and now PPE response. You have some interesting stories to tell, I know. So run us through. Give us the high level.
Hi all, I'm in the office. I got 2 kids here. We're in the middle of moving to a house under construction, so I apologize if there's background noise. So I'm very humbled to be here. Sarah and Rakia, it's such amazing stories. This country is just built in entrepreneurship, and I'm just so pumped up every time I have an opportunity to get in front of people and get to meet new friends. Dash is also very good to meet you. We are known, in my business, where I'm known is Axi Translations. We help enterprise and government customers leverage language as a strategic driver for growth, as a strategic driver for constituency engagement, And what we have done, I have been working with a coach for the last 2 years, and that has been very helpful to me. And what that has done is that it helped me have a framework for crisis. We have been working really hard on building my balance sheet. I don't have any founders. I came from private equity in the past, and I was younger at the time. One of the decisions I made 10 years ago was that I didn't want to have equity partners. I would kind of leverage my relationships in banking to get some capital. And that has been painful, but now it's kind of paid off because after 10 years in business, relative to our size, we came into this particular situation with a strong balance sheet. And what that allowed me to do is that really allowed me to focus on very similar things that you guys were doing. Finally got to a point where I had a great, strong team globally. We have employees in Canada, we have employees in Colombia, we have employees in Argentina, Ecuador, we have some people in China. So I didn't want to let go of anybody. And also, I'm very invested in the community. We give back in this community. I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose anything. So I kind of got to work and kind of put my, I came here with $200 20 years ago. I'm not going to let this stuff tackle me, right? So long story short, we focused in 4 things that were key, which was the customer. Now is the time to be a hero for your customers. All of you guys are being heroes for your customers. Innovate and remove barriers. I don't want to create noise for my customers. How can we innovate and make a difference for them so that we're part of the solution? Right now, obviously, we went through cost cutting, so there's no slack. So what I did is I really kind of looked at our human capital, and I said, okay, I pledge that I will keep you on at least till the end of the year. What that means is that will take away from the little wealth that I built for my family and for myself and for the community. But if I'm going to make that commitment, you better be bringing your A game every day. And if someone gives me an excuse they don't want to work, they're out. Simple as that. Right now, there's just a lot of people that are looking for work that they can't work. And so right now is the time to keep the great talent and let go of people. So we let go of some people. And then, managing cash very carefully. Extending payments terms with our vendors, having a very close relationship with our bank. Ryan is our banker. He's awesome. And in terms of right now, so just, you're very welcome. So in terms of what I think is that, I come from a country, from Colombia. It's a country with a lot of adversity. So we've never dealt with pandemic, but I've dealt with a lot of death in my lifetime and uncertainty. The way I see is that I really think that you cannot allow circumstances to change who you are. So maybe I lose a deal and I lose money, but if I have creativity and I'm able to work, we'll be fine. Like Sarah was saying, the way I'm seeing this is a gas tank. I think we are. I'm keeping the gas tank as full as I can. I think we have probably the second leg of the trip. The business environment is changing a lot. We are changing and being very dynamic. I'm seeing, unfortunately, adverse business conditions. If you do business in the DC government, for example, I'm seeing, we're taking really close eyes on our ARs. I'm not sending terms to people. Your government, you don't want to pay me? That's fine. I don't do work for you. There's people that are going to pay me. And just focusing on the type of customers that that are your focus in terms of your strategic initiatives, and the customers that appreciate your work. And just for me, we have kids, and we have one that has special needs. So what I've done also is kind of rebalance a little bit my work-life balance so that I have priorities, and all my patience goes to these beautiful boys. And I try to serve my community and my customers. I'm focused on the customers that want our help. The ones that are creating drama, you know what? Right now, there's so much drama that I think that there's business out there. And then lastly, for me, I think one thing that I have done that has been very engaging is I'm getting into all different kinds of businesses that are just kind of intermingled. But I've been able to help other business owners that were in trouble, and now we're doing a bunch of plexiglass work, but we're doing it in a way where we scale, because we went through the motions of the hand sanitizer, that's gone. So now we're doing plexiglass for correctional facilities. But on the correctional facilities, they also need language. So my play is I'm trying to build these strong relationships with contracting people, enterprise people, because after this mess is over, we have built relationships through a crisis. And I think that people that you've stuck through a crisis will pick up the phone easier to you versus in normal circumstances.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's my story.
Well, thank you. Mr. Dash Kiradenya, last but not least, sir.
Hi, thanks, Ryan. Again, it was really great to hear from Sarah, Rakia, and Andres the stories, and I'll try to kind of like give my little bit about introduction about my company Codis and what we do, and how we have kind of prepared for this. We actually started our journey last year. Last year, it so happened that we made a decision to go paperless. And this is like sometime about June of last year. We made the planning. We made the, we bought equipment. We prepared for an eventual paperless. This was for office. We had 2 offices. So when December came and when January came, we had already planned to migrate to Microsoft 365. We were already talking in Zoom. We had put in places like for a call center where we could, deal with issues and things online. So we had done all this transformation, and when looking back, I thank God for that, because that is something that we had planned last year.
Very wise.
Yeah, and we were, so when February and March hit, we were kind of operating. We had also shifted offices. We invested in a brand new office in DC, so we had put capital onto that, and we had also hired people for some of the work and projects we were getting. Again, we went through all the trials and tribulations of like cutting down staff and how we could work around it. But I think there are 3 or 4 things, when I look back that I think are really important for businesses. One of the first things I see is going digital. I think whether you're a 1-person business, whether it's a small business with a few people, or if it's a 200-person operation, I think you have to seriously look at going digital in terms of transforming your operations. So this is coming out of business necessity, right? We basically, transition to a virtual communication environment. Every time I speak with my key managers or my staff now is through Microsoft Teams or Zoom. And the nice thing about it is I get to love it. I hated it the first few times I started it, but now I love it because I have their full attention, they're attentive, and we can do the same type of communication and the conversation we do in offices using this technology. We run our presentations, we run our scripts, we all do that through Microsoft Teams. So that's an important consideration, and I think a must for all businesses, right? Then the next piece is, how do you cope with transitioning? So like I said, initially we lost some people, some really good people, but guess what? I was able to bring them back 2 months later through another project. We had to retool what we do, and that requires a lot of reimagination. You have to be very creative, and that goes into your total business, vision of being able to adapt, right? I know I have people in my team, and maybe a long time ago I was like very rigid, but at the same time, this is a very dynamic, it's a very fluid environment for businesses. So you have to adapt very quickly and also implement those changes pretty fast. Now there are challenges like, you need capital for that, right? Listening to Andreas, he had capital that he had saved. So that's a great thing. We had some, we had to borrow some. So some of these changes are very fluid, dynamic, but you have a specific window to accomplish those changes. So either you need to get a loan or get your bank to support and move forward with some of those changes. Because everybody else is moving very fast, including the big corporations. I always think, as a small business, you want to think like a big business. What are they doing? What are they really focusing on? And try to keep up with some of the key fundamental changes that will place you in a very competitive place 6 months from now. So when you talk about digitization going back, you want to look at security. You want to look at, all your machines and all your remote things are protected. You have certain very easy to install software that you can purchase. All comes at a price, but that should be part of your planning to make sure people are secure. They use secure assets and communication devices while you're communicating with you. So this comes naturally to us. That's the positive we had, because we are an IT company and we are a health administration company. So that part, we're very thankful. Yeah. So the other piece I want to talk about is the workforce, right? In this environment, I think workforce for any company is key, right? The people you can trust, you can go to, and you really want to kind of build a trust-based culture with your employees, because I don't know, we are paying for them, we are paying for services, but it's all happening virtually. So the trust is very important for you to build with your employees to make sure that they're supposed to do the thing. And I've had tremendous progress, or I guess luck with it, because everybody, I can count on the company. They're doing way beyond what is required, like in terms of people understand the job is at stake, and to protect that, you have to put double the effort these days. That preserves the job, that preserves the company, that preserves the financial income for the family. So I think everybody has to be a stakeholder. So we had some important and also kind of like very hard discussions when March hit. So I told my employees, right, we have an opportunity, or we have also the option of losing some of our big corporate clients or government clients. It was a possibility, and we did lose some. But are you able to look at the next 1 year and commit yourself, because we are all in this together? So I think that type of conversation is important to build trust. And I think for Coadis, it has paid really good dividends. So we have a really good team that I can call at 10 o'clock in the night and they would pick up and respond. But at the same time, as long as the work gets done, I leave them alone. I mean, they know what is required. We have a meeting of minds. So it's important to build that trustworthy culture. The third thing is, at the end of the day, it's all about the clients, right? So you have your digitization, your resources, your planning, your organization to get it up to a state where really you can go to the client and say, what would you like to do better now? What things are going to you be doing differently? So all the clients, customers we have, they are in the process of changing some of their operations. And most of them are going full-time digital. There are no more handshake transactions, right? Or that's gone down. So they're looking at how can we make these transactions online. So if you have a service, or if you have a product, if you have a solution, a lot of these transactions are going to happen online. So how do we facilitate? So you're talking about digital platforms. And the good news is for small businesses is that some of these are already out there. Like for subscription services, you can purchase some of these and put your goods and services online. But we build our own apps. So we have about 5 or 6 apps we've built over the last 6-7 years. And and one of them was, online payment transactions, which really kind of blossomed after we got into COVID because, agencies or corporate clients wanted to cut down on, actual payments happening. No cash anymore. It's all credit card driven or automated payments. So
Nobody wants to go to the bank anymore and deposit cash, do they?
Absolutely. So,
Nope.
so you rely on all these, kind of innovations in a way, but they're also accessible. That's the good thing I have learned. We've done quite a bit of research on what are some of the services, because if something's already built, it's a very reasonable subscription. You don't want to recreate that or build that. So our tech team has been able to really take care of that side and kind of really accelerate the digital adoption piece, which has really helped us navigate. Not to say that, we've had some really tough, like I said, times, we had to lay off people, but again, nearly everybody, I think, we were able to kind of bring back, with additional. Then, we had the payment, protection program, which kind of we made use of, which we really needed. So
yes, the much maligned PPP program. I think we all had differing experiences, with that one, depending on who you went through and how easy it was to get it, and the forgiveness process is looming large too for many of us.
That was very welcome, Ryan, and a good point, because we thought it was going to be very complicated, but once we got down to it, it was pretty streamlined. And again, it's a process. You've got to have your ducks in a row and all your documentation lined up.
Yep.
We were able to go through and get the loans, and now we're in this phase of like reviewing and responding to the waiver. So there are opportunities there as well, whether it's a grant coming from DC government or the federal government. Go for all those. We applied to many, but we didn't get except the PPP loan.
Hey,
but that is what it is.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple questions I want to get out here as we're sort of moving forward. I don't see any coming in on the chat. So one of the ones that I've been wondering, right? And you heard about a lot of what's happened around travel in the airline industry. And one of the thoughts is, hey, flights are cheap right now, but the pendulum is going to swing hard the other direction, right? And travel may become something that's really for the wealthy, and the airline industry may be radically smaller forever, maybe, or certainly for a long period of time. And I was wondering for you guys, and I'll start with Sarah, do you expect legacy impacts to your industry that, let's say we go back to normal tomorrow, does the industry stay the same for you guys, or does it change? And is that good or bad?
Well, thanks. I do have to go after answer this question. So I just wanted to say it was really awesome to
I know,
hear all of your stories. If things go back to normal tomorrow, I would challenge that, because what does it mean if things go back to normal tomorrow? So, if there's a vaccine today,
Yep.
I don't think we go back to what normal might not be a year ago from today. I think that people will be forever impacted by what they went through in terms of like expectations around delivery. A lot of people, especially like in food and bev and grocery and consumer goods, have said that this has simply accelerated the inevitable pace of going towards delivery and like instant, gratification. So I don't think that we go back to people not wanting things delivered. I think that's, some of those things have changed forever. We are already seeing that they're crawling back a little, because the number of people who have been asking for delivery has definitely decreased over the course of the 6 months. But the number of people asking for delivery tomorrow, if there's a vaccine, in my opinion, it's still out there. People's expectations have been altered. I think people, they're used to it. I think that, if we had a vaccine tomorrow, again, what else is different? Economically, we're really hard up. The people who have lost their jobs are obviously not indulging in, but people are feeling very insecure. they're just not purchasing in exactly the same way. Even if you have a job, you know, I have a job. Will I have a job a year from now? I sincerely don't know. And I think that most people who even would have felt incredibly secure in their jobs a year ago are not feeling that way now. So I don't really think there is a normal that looks like the past did.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. You know, I think all of our industries are going to experience some sort of really permanent shift. Just as the bank, you know, we've shifted to having a really large portion of our workforce remote. You know, that's where I am now. And do we ever completely return back to the office environment that we had before? You know, likely no. A lot of our clients, you know, like to meet with us virtually like now, and they're very comfortable with that, and they're happy with that. You know, the challenge for us, and I think the challenge with a lot of us, is what does business development look like? You know, in this new age, you know, for us, we would do a lot of networking events. If anybody had been to our economic forum event or any other events that we run, those are really key drivers for us in terms of building our new brand here. And you know, business development, to me at least, has changed. And I would imagine that's something that stays altered forever for at least many of us. Rakia, how about you? Do you see things changing forever?
Guys, thank you.
All right.
Bye, Sarah. Oh yeah, it definitely has changed. From one, convincing a medium-sized to semi-large size company to build a robust custom digital product was a hard sell before COVID, right? Usually they wanted to take it application by application, or they just wanted to build that small website with that partnering mobile app. And that's not what we do. We build really big things that have a roadmap of evolvement of a digital solution and proprietary solution. But now we're seeing that we're able to have really honest conversations with those clients to say, well, you know, that's what preparedness looks like. Leaning into technology to its full extent and actually building something that's custom to your business model and what you need for your industry is how you protect yourself, and giving yourself a digital asset is how you protect yourself. And so we've been able to have really, it's been a bittersweet conversation, right? Because it's a conversation of, see, this is why we wanted you to have this.
This is why we did this.
Yeah, but once we get past that conversation, it's like, great, let's dream of something big. We're really honored that one of our clients in the past has always been the Starwood Hotels, and they were one of the first to have keyless entry and touchless technologies, and we're really honored that we're that company that made that possible for them before there was a conversation of a pandemic. So now we're able to meet, to Dash's point, of meet our clients where they are and really say, now that we're here, let's really talk about what technology you need to utilize and create a solution that allows you to be fast in this concept, to reach your customers where they are, and really build something that makes you better and allows your work to be done smoothly. But also we are seeing, to your point, Ryan, that the business development strategy is a bit different. We met most of our clients by traveling, by referral from other clients, or just we always called it being at the right place at the right time. And we would find, yeah, and that's been a bit harder. We kind of, being in tech, we're a bit anti-newslettery, and we hate the idea of cluttering our potential clients' inboxes. That's not utilizing technology correctly, but we've had to really challenge ourselves and lean in to, send that newsletter out, bother them in their inbox just a little bit more, and make that phone call and get them in a conversation where they start thinking about the solutions. And that's been a huge shift for our marketing strategy, our business development strategy, and we're still learning in that regard.
Yeah, and I think we all are, to an extent. It's not going to stop tomorrow. I mean, we're all doing different things. This panel here is first for the DC Chamber, and certainly a first for me. It looks like we actually do have a question here. Jacques, what are you doing to keep up employee morale when the financial environment is so unstable? It is. Andreas, what have you been doing? You have a really diverse, far-flung workforce, and you're not seeing everyone every day. What have you been doing to keep your team, pushing the boulder up the hill?
So that has been a very interesting transition, actually, that has pivoted through in this crisis, is that the team has stepped up. The people that we have on the team finally bought into our values. But we've been working very hard in having values and developing a culture, having a small business, building a culture where the team is investing in the actual culture. And now what I have seen that has transitioned is that before I had to be involved in motivating people and the birthdays and all the stuff that is just busy work that you love, but it's just, I'm not good at that stuff. And what ended up happening is that my leadership team really started engaging with the rest of our team. And we have done some virtual parties where we play. There's this platform where we can do a quiz online, and I have people from different countries joining into those events. And I have my kids and my wife joining in the party so that they see that we're really invested. I always say, for me, my number one customer is my employees. At the end of the day, the only way you can scale, in my view, in this environment or any environment, is if my employees are going to take care of my customers like I'm going to take care of them. If they call them and they're going to be empathetic towards this situation. And that has helped us a lot in keeping engaged. My employees, I only have one employee that has children. So one of the things that we do is, because we have a very focused verticals in our industries, we're very focused on our approach to marketing, and we're on the business we go after. And I tell my team that we have to be very empathetic to working parents. A lot of our customers are working parents, and just talking about empathy and stuff like that is helpful. One last thing that we did for a while that the team kind of got bored of it is that we did online meditation for the team. And we had a meditation guy that came over once a week, and it was, anyone could show up. It was not mandatory. So we do stuff like that and just trying to keep the team engaged,
Yeah, you're actually not the first person that has mentioned meditation to me as something that they've explored throughout all of this, right? I think it's easy to lose focus, and there's so much going on, and so much of it is crazy, and it's important to stay balanced. We have a couple more minutes.
Can I add on to the employee morale? I did a couple of things in the beginning of this that I think was really beneficial. One, I sent little care packages to every one of our employees, and it was everything that I knew you would need to do to kind of utilize to work from home. So like a really nice water bottle, and it was probably like $30 an employee. And it was also a handwritten card of saying, I know this is tough, but we get to get through this. And it was a notepad and just everything to really make their workstation look great, right? And I think the biggest gift in it was the laptop stander upper, so you can have a really good,
really good position,
prop of propping a laptop. Yeah. And what I realized it just allowed the employees to feel like they were being heard, and they understood that, leadership saw that this was a different way in which we got to work, and allowed us to lean in. And then second to that, we did a kind of an all team meeting. We said, what do we need? What do you need? What do we all need as a collective? Because to Andreas's point, what we need is what our clients need. So we determined that we don't have meetings on Mondays or Fridays. We allow that to be quiet working time, so you can ease into the week and you can create that work-life balance to ease out of it. Yeah. Our meetings are not allowed to be an hour long because we understand that Zoom fatigue is real. Yeah. And we also have a video culture, right? Creating a video understanding or culture with with your team can help through some of these virtual engagements. Ours is really simple. You're only on screen if you're talking. And if you're not talking, and it's almost like if we were at a table, you would be standing if you were speaking, and if you're sitting down, because you don't need our attention. So it allowed, and that one rule, we had better engagement during our Zoom calls. We had, we saw the fatigue was dwindling down. So I would say
good
definitely
idea.
as a trick,
That's a really good idea.
ask your team, like, what do they need? Yeah. So.
Well, guys, we have about one more minute. We have to be back to the main stage, I think. Dash, any last points to add before we wrap it up?
I think just the fact that the trust, building that trust with the employee is very different. So Rakia, you did a great thing by, sending those packets, because those are things that really, build trust and, let them have the confidence in your abilities, right, to connect. I think this actually, resulted in better collaboration with my teams. So on Teams, they respond better. And unlike those, previous times, now I include all the people, the entire staff in the meeting. So you get better feedback, from the levels below the managers, I think, which is really important for, better trust between the managers and the teams and the leadership. Plus, you collaborate more. I think we've really got some, kudos for collaborating really well. And, telling them your expectations. You have to have those discussions. Some people may not be really good on technology. You have to have those discussions and say, going forward, things have changed. You need to maybe even using your own time, pick up some of these technologies, because you will need that. And that will, so it's very clear you, also let them know your expectations.
Well, great. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I hope everyone enjoyed the panel. Looks like we're going to be heading back to the main stage. We'll see you all over there.